Hello, Jessica here. Thought I would do a quick video. I've read Finding Lucy before a long time ago, but I've never done a video where I read Digger's Big Adventure before. And so I'm gonna do that now. Here on my couch by the fire because it's one of those kind of days. So the link is below if you haven't already gotten a copy of one of our books. That's where you can buy them. I can mail them to you, or if you're local to me, you can forego shipping and get them that way. So, without further ado, Digger's Big Adventure. It is based on a true story, and Neroli helped me write it and illustrate it back in 2020. And the back of it just says, join Neroli as she recounts the tale of when Digger, one of our golden retrievers, went on a 6-day adventure around our beautiful hometown of Livingston, Montana, the summer of 2020. While the story is based in fact, the ever-imaginative Neroli blended fantasy and reality while retelling and illustrating this heartwarming story. So, as all things in my life are, it's always a collaboration with my girls because they're always right here. You can see Neroli's little tootsie right there.
And now, me. I have this book.
Yep, Rain is super into the elves, but will you please get out of my way, madam? You can sit right here next to me, and I'll read to all of us. It says, hi, it's me, Neroli. This is my dog, Digger. Digger was jealous that Lucy had her own book, Finding Lucy, so he went on his own adventure. Digger's story began on a perfect summer morning in Livingston, Montana.
And now there's never pig.
And these are mostly all real pictures. That one was that have been cartoonized. On the morning of July 11th, 2020, my mom was watering flowers on our front porch while I sat in the chair watching her and daydreaming.
I was behind her.
Yep, and there you were on my back.
I was behind your back?
Yeah, you were.
When I was little, I was like that.
Yep. We were enjoying ourselves out front, unaware that the dogs had noticed something behind the house. Maybe an unfamiliar person or smell. They just couldn't help their curiosity, so Digger used his nose to open the gate. Digger is great at opening things with his nose. Very true.
I think he's good.
And here in the illustration it says, if I get my nose just right, I can push the gate open, and that is his cute little nose peeking through the gate that he escaped from.
And when I kept finding him, and now he was missing.
True. Behind our backs, our golden retriever brothers, Digger and Roscoe, pushed open the gate and ran in the opposite direction, circling around behind our house. We didn't realize the boys were loose until Roscoe ran up to us, alone. And then it says it's got Lucy here thinking, I'm staying here, no way. And Digger's thinking, what's that smell? And Roscoe says, let's go check it out. And that's kind of a sad one for us because we lost our dear Roscoe last January. He passed away.
Sadly, something's behind you.
Yeah. Once she realized that Digger was nowhere to be seen in the backyard, side yards, or house, my mom put Rain, my little sister, in her stroller. We ran all over the streets near our house looking and calling for Digger, telling anyone we saw to be on the lookout for our missing golden retriever.
Hey, is that me?
Yeah. And that's us running, and it says, Digger, come! And Neroli was yelling for Digger, too. And at that point, there were more people helping us, as you'll see.
And when Digger was in there, he was in trouble, and he was in danger.
The first sighting of Digger was by a nice mail carrier. She saw him just 15 minutes after he got loose running west down Clark Street. We were excited to have a clue, so we ran in the same direction and continued to call for Digger and tell anyone we saw about him. Everyone was very nice, caring, and helpful. And that is a picture of one of the areas there up the street from where we lived at the time.
And
An
now,
old school building that has office space in it now. The next sighting of Digger was a few hours later by a UPS driver. He'd seen Digger running around the area near Neroli's school of B.A. Winans Elementary at the time.
and now I was running in my school too.
The UPS driver was very kind and said he'd keep an eye out for Digger while he was making his deliveries. We were very worried about Digger, but were encouraged by another clue in the kindness of the people of Livingston.
I think Digger is in that little packet. I think he must be sad.
Yeah. When we went home to regroup, we decided that a lost dog poster would be a good idea, so Mom made one. She shared the poster on Facebook and printed some off to put up around town. While we were out looking and calling for Digger, I helped put the lost dog posters on light posts, telephone poles, and street corners. And that's a cartoonized picture of Neroli at the time putting up a lost dog poster on a telephone pole.
And Ceci, I think you were younger.
And when you get the books, they have gnomes holding
there was a book.
the page numbers and hidden around in our illustrations too. My friend Olivia and her mom Sharon were helping us look for Digger and telling others that he was on the loose. Sharon texted Mom that there had been another sighting of Digger near Ace Hardware. Someone had tried to get him to come, but he'd acted skittishly and run off toward the railroad tracks. There's a picture of, it's a reimagining of him running across the tracks thinking, it's so loud and scary, where's my family?
Oh, Diggy.
I know. We looked and called for Digger in the area by Ace Hardware, but didn't see anything, so we kept driving around Livingston looking and calling. A few hours later, Mom saw another mail carrier, so she stopped to ask her if she'd seen Digger while she was out. She'd seen him running east along the railroad tracks near North 7th Street not long before.
Is that Digger?
It does look like Digger. And that's him running on the tracks saying, Roscoe, Mama, help! Because he was never without his brother. They're real brothers.
Hey, Mama. Digger says, Mom, Neroli, Dad, Rain, help!
He was so scared, I bet. There were no more sightings of Digger on his first day, so we eventually had to go home to rest and pray that he'd stay safe. We were so worried about Digger, but thanks to our experience finding Lucy 6 years before, we knew that if we kept looking and maintained a good mental attitude, we would get Digger home. And that is a pretty overview look from up on the hill of Livingston, Montana, with its pretty mountains up in the background.
Oh, Diggy.
I know, poor Digger.
He must have run away.
He did. We didn't know it at the time, but when it started to get late in the day, Digger tried to be brave and make friends with a nice black lab named Django who lives on North Montana Street. Digger got scared and ran off, so Django's mom, Beth, knew he was lost when she saw him again the next morning. Beth reached out with our first tip of day 2, and she even rode her bike looking and calling for Digger. And this is the front yard, the real front yard, and then a reimagining of Digger getting scared and Django thinking, what's his deal? Django was a really nice dog.
Digger said, Mom, Neroli, Rain, Dad, help!
He did.
There's my Digger.
That's a real picture of Digger, a person that had a sighting sent to us. It says, we didn't find out until police dispatch called us a few hours later, but Digger was seen getting a drink of water from a nice woman's fish pond in her backyard early that morning up on Blue Heron Drive.
We actually have a pond now, which is cool.
We had a few clues to go off of, and it was very comforting to know that Digger was alive, well, and in a hilltop neighborhood overlooking Livingston.
And Digger said, Mom, Mary, Rain, help!
As soon as we got our morning Digger sightings, Dad and I took off in his truck toward the area where Digger was last seen. Before we got to the top of the hill, we saw Digger near an alley on the hillside near Yellowstone Street. Dad got out to see if Digger would come to him, but Digger ran away scared. A lot of people that haven't had dogs go missing, which good for you if you haven't, don't know this, but a lot of times, even though they're your dog, they're in fight, flight, and they're too afraid
Mama,
to come to you. They don't act normally. They can't really think.
Mama, you said, do you see our dog Digger?
I did. Now,
I can see him.
Now that we'd seen Digger up close and had him run away, we knew that he was in fight flight, which is common for animals on the run. To try to calm and lure him, we went home and got our other dogs, Roscoe and Lucy, to help us look for Digger. Sadly, we didn't have another sighting that day, so we eventually went home to rest and regroup. And
That's my dad.
that is your dad in his truck, and that was a picture of Roscoe in the back, and Neroli and Daddy were calling for Digger, because he was somewhere around there.
What if I was with them?
You were with me. The next morning, we woke up to an early morning sighting, which is always so exciting and comforting.
And now there was a shooting star when we saw it in our alley.
Yeah. A woman who lives in the area Digger was loose in saw him on her way to work that morning. It was dark, and Digger is a big dog, so at first she thought he was a deer, but she was certain that it was Digger. We were so excited to know that he made it through another night alone, so we quickly got ready for another day of looking.
And now I was with my dad, both of you with my dad and sister.
It's true. We drove all over the hilltop area for hours with no sighting, and then we saw Digger running west along Summit near the soccer fields. Mom jumped out of the car and tried to get Digger to come to her with an apple as bait, because Digger loves apples. Digger was too scared, so he ran through a yard into an alley and away from us again. And that is a picture of the area that we did have a sighting
And now Wassa was trying to help Neroli find Digger.
Yep, Lucy was helping, and so was Roscoe.
And
While we were looking and calling for Digger near the soccer fields, we saw Mom's friend Jess, who lives nearby with her kids. They all got on their bikes and rode around looking and calling for Digger. Jess and her kids saw Digger and tried to get him to come, but he ran off into the hills above the town toward the water tower.
And now
So frustrating.
I think water slides are fun.
But still having sightings keeps the hope alive, so that was always a really good thing. Since we knew that Digger was running toward the water tower, we called my dad to help. Dad left work and met us there. Mom ran down the hill with Lucy to see if she could see Digger and move him up toward Dad. Dad gave a whistle and Digger jumped up right in front of him. Digger had been hiding and resting in the tall grass, but he was off on the run again, so we followed after. And that's a picture of Neroli walking Lucy, and there's Roscoe, and that was up in the area that we had that sighting up by the water tower.
And now you were running away from me, and now I could see you. My dad.
Yep. We walked all over the hills near the water tower as a family with Roscoe and Lucy, hoping to see Digger again.
And Dad.
Yep. We didn't have another sighting that day, but since we knew that he was likely still in the area and now getting really hungry, we brought Smelly Taco Bell to where we'd seen him last and had a beautiful picnic dinner. We would never give up until he was back home with us.
And now I was hungry until I was going back home, but I was really sad.
Yeah, we were sad. The next day, Mom got a message on Facebook from a local woman who offered to bring one of her horses and her dog to the water tower hills to help us look.
Hey, Sissy was behind you.
Yep, that was Trish. Trish didn't find Digger, but I got to go for my first horseback ride with her on Maggie. It was really neat to watch her canter around on Maggie with her sweet dog Spirit running after. So many people helped us look. And a neat aside about that is Trish ended up being a very good friend / chosen family for us. And that is a picture of Neroli on a horse for the very first time in her life, was with Trish on Maggie looking for Digger. And I have it memorialized in a book forever. So that's really neat for us. These are little tidbits that you get to know about the books that I've never really shared before.
You were not.
And she's
You
my
were
first
not, girl.
lesson teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it says you
Yeah,
was.
and you're right. Trish did end up teaching horseback riding lessons and being an intro to horsemanship for the girls, and is still a very good friend of ours that we love. After another long day of looking for Digger, we were tired but still hopeful that he'd come home. We borrowed a trail camera and dog crate and put them where Dad saw Digger resting. We left food, water, and the rug he sleeps on with Roscoe, hoping the scent would remind him of home. We didn't see anything on the camera besides people walking their dogs and us looking for Digger.
Oh, wow. Wow, Digger, my fruit are ready. You will, Digger, sure do like apples.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's that do?
I'm about to tell. We had so many people that we didn't know helping us look for Digger. The entire town of Livingston and even people online who live in other places helped us. 2 nice local photographers even used their drones to look for him, but they didn't have any luck. With so much help, we knew that Digger's story would have a happy ending. And that is true.
And that guy was helping us.
He was. After setting up the home scent area with the crate and camera, we left Mom and Lucy at the water tower area. They walked all the way home, taking the most direct route, dragging a blanket that the dogs sleep on, leaving a strong, familiar scent trail.
And now you left me.
We left the backyard gate open that night, hoping that Digger might follow the scent home. I will do anything for my animals or children, even if it makes me look insane, which, total disclosure, I kind of am.
Yep.
That's fine.
Whoa, what's that?
The next day, Dad had a surgery, so he couldn't help us look for Digger. The timing. While we were waiting for him to be ready to be picked up, we looked for Digger some more in the hilltop area of his sightings.
And now we found him now.
We even left Roscoe tied in the back of Mom's car to see if Digger might see him and jump in, which didn't work, but it was pretty cute. And now that I don't have my Roscoe anymore, these are nice memories to see these pictures of him back when he was young and well. Scoot back a little bit, please. Toward the end of the day, Mom got a Facebook message from a woman who said she lived closer to Digger's area, was ready to leave quickly with an extra leash and stake, and that she had a beagle named Blue with a history of helping lost dogs get home. Not long after reading this message, Mom got a phone call from her friend Natasha, who lives on the hilltop. And that is a real picture of Blue, our beautiful angel pup that you'll soon learn how he fits into the story.
Hey, Mama, I think he was meat.
Yeah, all dogs like steak. Who doesn't love steak? Natasha's neighbor had just seen Digger. Natasha told my mom the details of the sighting so we'd know where to look. Mom quickly messaged Sarah, the woman who'd just told her that she could help if there was a sighting. Sarah took her beagle Blue in her truck toward the area of the sighting. And this is the picture that the neighbor of Natasha took to show me that it really was Digger. And he looked so cute and sad in the street lights. He came down by the people when it was after dark to see if he could maybe, I think, get food and stuff. Because he's also seen on, I think, someone's door camera.
I think I can't see his dark face.
I know, it was in the dark. When Sarah turned off 7th Street up Montana, she saw a shadow. Once Sarah knew it wasn't a deer, she stopped and got out with Blue. She started to approach Digger, and he acted like he might run, so she backed into the shadows. As she backed away, Blue ran up to Digger. Yee!
And now,
So exciting.
and now Blue, and now they were taking Digger home to our house.
Mm-hmm. Blue stood in front of Digger, communicating something unknown. Then they both ran back to Sarah's truck and jumped in the back of the cab. Sarah said they were both running so hard when they jumped in that they couldn't have been stopped. She called my mom and they both cried as Mom told her how to get to our house. I'll never forget it. It was quite the experience.
Yep, now I'm learning how to make soap.
When Digger jumped out of Sarah's truck, safely on leash, he was just excited to see us as we were to see him. We gave a teary-eyed thank you to Sarah for bringing Digger home to us and took him inside for a tail-wagging reunion. Roscoe and Lucy were very excited to see Digger too. The Sutherland family was complete again, and that is a picture of my happy, happy boy on the floor looking up at me all happy because we were all just together again.
And now he said, Mom, Dad, Neroli, Rain.
He just loves us so much, doesn't he? We all slept better than we had since Digger had run away. The next day, a week after he'd run off, we took Digger to Sleeping Giant Animal Clinic to be checked over by our vet, Dr. McCormick.
Did he got surgery?
Listen, nope. They lovingly groomed him, removed the painful cheek grass he had stuck in his raw paws and tangled fur, and gave us medicine without even charging us. They're truly the best. And that is the front of the clinic there. And little pictures, he had raw spots on the pads of his feet and a little nick on his leg, but miraculously, that was all of the bad stuff that happened to him while he was on his big adventure, luckily.
Now, there was a water on his foot right here.
Yep. Digger was finally comfortable, relaxed, and able to rest. We were all so grateful that he was finally home with us. Our family will never forget how the whole town of Livingston, Montana helped bring Digger home from his big adventure.
Mama, that's me playing.
Yep, that was the real scene at the time. There was little Rain, who was just
Gnomes and fairies and all.
a little one at the time, and Digger with his raw paws and his
Sissy,
ouchy
look
feet
at us.
resting in the backyard.
I was so little and you were younger, Sissy.
And the little girls are memorialized there at the end of Neroli and Rain.
I was so little looking when you were younger.
And that's that. So, that is the reading with all of Rain's adorable little 4.5-year-old interjections.
Mama, look at you. You're so happy in the picture.
So that's Digger's Big Adventure that we have that I just read. And then I'll do another separate, more current video of Lucy's, which is Finding Lucy. So, the link is below. If you don't have them and you want to get them,
Buy them
buy them.
now.
The link is below.
Bye.
Buy them now.